Tom O'Brien. You can fix your brain just 1 hour a week to the best memory, productivity, and sleep you've ever had. Does this happen to you? You're staring at your computer screen trying to finish a project for work, but it feels like your thoughts are moving through a thick fog. Focusing feels impossible, or how about this? You're on the phone, about to jot down an important detail. You search for pen and paper, where did they go again? But by the time you find them, you've forgotten what you were supposed to write down. If you've ever experienced brain fog or memory lapses, you're in good company. Millions of people, old and young, suffer from cognitive symptoms and impairments that affect their quality of life and productivity. The good news? You can absolutely improve the situation. In this video, we'll examine underlying causes of brain dysfunction, often related to inflammation, and how to find out if they're affecting you. We'll also learn some strategies for addressing these with lifestyle modifications and dietary changes. You can improve your cognitive function and achieve better memory, clarity, and energy. Let's get started. Immunity, inflammation, and the brain. What do dementia, depression, anxiety, and memory loss have in common? They're all caused by runaway processes of inflammation and autoimmunity. Not only that, they can all be treated by finding and eliminating the underlying triggers. Let's look at how this process works. The function of the immune system is, of course, to protect your body from foreign substances and harmful intruders impinging on your body. A well-functioning immune system can distinguish between your body's own cells and external threats, ensuring that only genuine dangers are targeted. But what happens when this system malfunctions? Autoimmunity is a condition in which the immune system mistakes your healthy cells as invaders and launches an attack against them. This leads to inflammation within the relevant cells and tissues, and can even cause your immune system to destroy these cells if it believes they're damaged. So where does this all begin? Often it starts because of the presence of foreign substances, environmental toxins, or foods to which either you have an individual sensitivity or which are simply unhealthy in general. Unfortunately, the modern world exposes your body to many such slings and arrows. These insults can leave your immune system chronically triggered and constantly overactive. Brain symptoms like brain fog, memory issues, and even anxiety and depression indicate that inflammation is happening in the brain, impeding its proper function. So how do these substances get into your brain in the first place? Let's zoom out to the rest of the body. First, your gut. Your intestinal system has evolved to do a difficult and sensitive job, allowing you to absorb all of the nutrients that your body needs to keep running while blocking out what's harmful or not needed. Your intestines have a semi-permeable mucus lining which acts as this filter. But in some people, the mucus lining becomes damaged and over-permeable, known as leaky gut syndrome. A leaky gut lets through substances that it shouldn't, like bacteria and toxins. But your body has another protective mechanism in place to protect the brain, the blood-brain barrier. Just like the intestinal lining, your blood-brain barrier is kind of a filter, allowing only those substances which are supposed to get across to enter, straining what gets through like an ultra-fine cheesecloth. Your brain is sensitive and important, so this filter is even finer and more selective than the one in your gut, operating at the molecular level and blocking whatever's not needed. But this filter too can become compromised in what is referred to as a breach of the blood-brain barrier. Once that happens, the foreign substance is free to enter into your brain tissue. Your body then begins to initiate the immune response we discussed earlier. Blood tissue becomes inflamed and begins to lose function, resulting in slowly worsening symptoms as the tissue becomes progressively damaged. For many people, the idea of damage to the brain is an especially scary prospect. One reason is the sense that this damage is truly permanent. Scientists used to believe that we had a fixed number of brain cells and once they were gone forever. While your brain cells certainly are precious and merit your careful protection, newer science has shown that it's possible for brain cells to regenerate. This gives some hope that it's possible to restore brain function that's been compromised to heal the brain. But before we can, we need to address the underlying problems which resulted in damage. We have to eliminate the leaky gut, restore the blood-brain barrier, and ultimately eliminate the offending toxins that caused the problem in the first place. So how do we know if these dangerous autoimmune processes are present? We'll cover that in the next section, your biological dashboard. You're driving home after a long day at work, looking forward to a relaxing evening. Coming along an uphill stretch, you notice the temperature warning light on your dashboard. Turn on. Concerned, you bring your car to the mechanic. It's a good thing you came in. They say you've got a leaking water pump which made your engine overheat. If you kept driving, you could have ended up with major engine damage. But don't worry, I fixed the pump, you're good to go. But the warning lights on your car serve a vital role. They give you an early heads up that something's wrong so you can address the issue before damage occurs. When it comes to protecting your brain, the same principle applies. Biomarkers linked to specific health issues may appear years before actual disease sets in. These can act as early indicators of immune conditions which, left untreated, could damage the brain tissue later on. Ideally, you can test these biomarkers to find any irregularities even before any symptoms occur. But if they're appearing, if you're having problems with memory concentration or brain fog, it may be that an inflammatory process is already underway. You should prioritize getting tested and bringing your car to the mechanic, so to speak. So what are some important biomarkers you can discuss testing with your doctor? Of particular importance are antibodies that indicate a breach of the blood-brain barrier, as these are implicated in nearly every kind of brain disease. It's a long list of possible markers, but here are some important ones. As it happens, the same antibodies that are related to a leaky gut are also related to a leaky blood-brain barrier. Examples of these are antibodies to zonulin, a compound released in the intestine, and actin, a type of muscle protein. Another group is antibodies to lipopolysaccharides or LPSS. These are bacterial byproducts, the proliferation of which has been linked to Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other diseases. Another category is antibodies, which were traditionally measured to determine evidence of brain injury but are also indicative of brain inflammation. These include antibodies to neuron-specific enolase or NYSE, glial fibrillar acid protein or GFP, and S100B. The last group of antibodies that we'll mention are ones to the transglutaminase family of proteins. First among these are antibodies to transglutaminase 2 or TG2. This is one of the primary markers for celiac disease. People with wheat sensitivity tend to have elevated antibodies to TG2, TG3, and/or TG6, the latter being an important enzyme in the brain and nervous system. Aside from antibodies, there are some other tests that should be part of your health indicator dashboard. There are immune reactivity screens that detect if your body is reacting to things like PCBs, phthalates, BPA, and dioxin. And finally, there are tests for exposure to mold and heavy metals. So what do you do if these antibodies or other markers are elevated? Well, you can start making health interventions to address the causes and bring down inflammation. Give these some time, 6 months to a year, and then retest to see if your protocol has been successful in bringing these indicators down. We'll spend the rest of this video looking at what those health interventions are. A great pyramid. When it comes to understanding and addressing brain-related illness, there are 4 primary areas of focus, representing 4 faces of what O'Brien calls the pyramid of brain health. These 4 areas are structure, emotional and spiritual, biochemistry, and electromagnetic. The base of the pyramid is your structure. That is your physical muscular skeletal system, the framework that holds your brain up and off the ground, as it were. Believe it or not, mechanical problems such as postural misalignments and muscular imbalances can result in brain problems down the road. An example of this is osteoarthritis, where physical misalignment and poor joint function create wear and tear on the joint, resulting in restricted blood flow, local inflammation, and ultimately immune response. Here, O'Brien recommends chiropractic as a preventative solution to create alignment in the spinal system. Additionally, he recommends people take a close look at their posture while sleeping, working, and driving, as improvements in these everyday time-intense activities can pay dividends. You won't be surprised to hear that exercise is crucial for brain health. Aerobic exercise that's intense enough to make you sweat helps you excrete and eliminate toxins stored in your body fat. Try slowly, ramping up to a target of 30 minutes per day, 6 days per week, leaving 1 day as a recovery day. And don't forget the other many brain benefits of exercise: lowering inflammation, enhancing neuroplasticity, and stimulating cellular growth and repair. Exercise is simply a no-brainer, unintended, so that's structure. The next side of the pyramid is mindset. This is your brain, after all. And could anyone doubt that the mind and brain are connected? One area where your mindset is crucial is getting a handle on stress. In this day and age, many people have their sympathetic nervous system chronically activated. When this system is constantly switched on, your heart beats faster, breathing becomes shallow, and your digestion is impaired. This leaves you exhausted and susceptible to outside threats. But adjusting your mindset goes beyond simply reducing stress. According to a 2012 study, mindfulness can actually reduce inflammatory markers even while stress is present. Other studies have found that meditation increases levels of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, a compound involved in regenerating brain tissue. And quite separately from the above, meditation has also been shown to have benefits in terms of concentration, focus, and emotional resilience. Other ways of addressing the brain via your mindset include psychotherapy, breathing exercises, and prayer. Biochemistry and electromagnetism. The next phase of the pyramid is biochemistry. One strategy here is detoxification. We talked earlier about how exercise can help flush toxins out of your body. One way you can help this process is through intermittent fasting. Fasting has been used for thousands of years as a way of purifying the body. The ancient Greeks knew it. Plutarch, for example, is quoted as saying, instead of using medicine, rather fast today, or Paracelsus. Fasting is the greatest remedy for the physician within. Intermittent fasting, otherwise known as time-restricted feeding, is a practice in which people restrict their eating to a particular time window. Say the 12 hours between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Regular intermittent fasting has been shown to, yes, burn fat, lipids, and tissues where many toxins are stored, which allows the body to rid itself of organic pollutants. It also gives the body a chance to deal with damaged cells, which then get replaced by healthy new ones. To help with detoxification, make sure to drink enough water, as this helps your body circulate fluids and flush out the bad stuff. And of course, you should do what you can to avoid exposure to toxins in the first place by taking care about which products you use, such as personal care products and household cleaners. Last but not least is what you eat. Your biomarkers and antibodies can help inform your choices here. But either way, try experimenting with eliminating the big three dietary culprits: wheat, dairy, and sugar. Of course, focus on increasing your consumption of fresh vegetables and fruits too. You can also experiment with adopting a ketogenic diet. You need to stay on it long term, but a short stint of 1 to 3 months can sometimes bring about dramatic cognitive benefits. You then have the opportunity to slowly reintroduce other foods to your diet while carefully monitoring your level of function and your health markers. The last phase of the pyramid of brain health is electromagnetism. O'Brien points to research indicating that electromagnetic fields, or EMs, are an important cause of oxidative stress in the body and that they impair the immune system, trigger inflammation, and disrupt tissue repair. EMFs are all around you. They're emitted by laptops, cell phones, Wi-Fi, and even the wiring in your home. They're impossible to avoid completely, but you can take certain steps to minimize your exposure. Here are some tips. Put your phone in an appropriate protective case. To find one, look for a type of product called a cell phone radiation cover and choose wired headphones over Bluetooth headphones if possible. As you know, proper sleep is essential for protecting and rejuvenating your brain. So 2 tips for your shut-eye. First, turn off or unplug your wireless router. You won't be using it anyway. And crucially, try to keep your cell phone out of your room at night. Besides reducing your EMF exposure while you sleep, this is simply beneficial for your sleep in general. If you do sleep with your phone next to you, put it in airplane mode. In this video, too, you can fix your brain. By Dr. Tom O'Brien. We've seen that fixing the brain isn't a simple matter. The human body is complex and multiple interacting systems need to be accounted for. But as Dr. O'Brien says, if you're experiencing symptoms related to cognitive function, your brain may be under threat. You now know the basics of how autoimmunity and brain inflammation lead to dysfunction in the brain. Using the full phases of the brain health, pyramid, structure, mindset, biochemistry, and electromagnetism, you can design a protocol of interventions for yourself to help you cut through the fog and live with greater clarity, optimism, and energy. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe, like, and leave us a comment, as we always appreciate your feedback. Hope to see you again in the next one on this channel.